Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Kathor Vani brought to you by the Student Alumni Committee of IIM Rohtak. Today we have with us Mr. Abhilash Ananduri. He completed his MBA from our college in 2014 with specialization in marketing and IT. He is also an alumnus of RMT Engineering College, Anna University. He is currently working as a product owner at Ericsson. Prior to this, he worked at Trimble, X Home, and Latent View Analytics. Apart from his professional life, he is a passionate public speaker, avid reader, and a happy father. We are privileged to have you here with us, sir, and looking forward to having an insightful session with you.
Thanks for the question, and of course, to start with, thanks to the alumni committee for organizing this, and I am also feeling very excited to talk with you all, quite young minds, and it's always happy to connect back with the alma mater, and yeah, to talk about product uh, owner role and what our day-to-day responsibilities look like. Probably I should give this a bit more context. So I will say what product management means in general. Like with the advent of technology, you can productize almost anything. Like it has turned day-to-day life's experience into a different way altogether. Like whether it's a physical experience of taxi ride booking, or the grocery shopping that you used to do, or even the doctor consultations. So everything has changed from the days that we used to do it in a physical way, more in a physical way, and how technology has intervened and changed things. So, and coming into product management, it has different flavors or meanings in different industries, like say banking, retail, insurance. But if you come to IT predominantly, it is more about shaping software products. And within the product management domain, we have two key roles. And those two are almost like the two sides of the same coin. That is a product owner and product manager. And whenever the company is at a quite nascent stage, or the industry itself is at a nascent stage, or it could be a geography that is getting adapted to this culture of product management, which was in the case of India a few years back, and in some cases even now. So product owner and product manager are the terms used interchangeably. If you go by book, product owner is something that is more internal, and product manager is more external. To explain that, product manager is somebody who faces the market and the customers, and understands what the market needs, and what your competition does. Probably you need to plan your game accordingly, and that is what product management or product manager does on a daily basis. And for PO, it is getting those requirements implemented and prioritizing the right things.
Going forward with more technical questions, I would like to travel back in time with you. What do you miss the most about your Kathor life?
So it's a lot actually, and firstly, I feel it's the people. When I say people, it's the friends from my classmates, juniors, and seniors. So we had a close group of friends who used to go together during projects, dinner, outings, and all that. So it was a you know it better now. So for me it's memories, but for you it's present. So it's a good experience that we miss. And yeah, other than people, if I have to say what I really miss about the Kathor life is the food. So when I was there, we used to have a campus in the MDU University, and we had a all-veg menu, but that had the best of jalebis and paneer dishes and chole bhature there.
I can know that, sir, because we are right now in campus. So moving on to the next question, what are the different IoT use cases you have used till now in your career, sir?
The IoT use cases, so predominantly in my current role at Ericsson, so what we deal with is connectivity. And with connectivity, what we do at Ericsson is enable our partners or operators and the enterprises to establish the connectivity for their business. So we don't do direct use case addressings, but we can say some specific instances in which we were able to address the customer, and we know what the use cases that they went through. And also before my experience at Ericsson, also I can quote some experiences. So mostly it's around connected vehicles, traffic planning, smart cities, and also a good amount of IoT usage is in asset maintenance when it comes to construction of properties and in maintenance. So yeah, and I'm sure within just a couple of years, you can't think of a industry where IoT is not there. So that is going to be the case because, yeah, thanks to the technology growth.
Since we are talking about IoT and we are going to see the future managers, which area of management do you think is IoT beneficial?
At least in my opinion, I'd say it's the operations, supply chain management, because logistics of the whole value chain is getting drastically impacted for good by IoT. So you can track the movement of things across globe or within your home just by click of uh, fingers at your house or at your office or wherever at your convenience. So that means that you can have a lot of remote assistance, a lot of process automation. So these are the key use cases, and also it will be really important in the case of um, if you say governance, the city governance and the traffic management. If you want to monitor the violations or any such activities, it will also um, be an area that will be really impacted or influenced by IoT. So
So moving to the next question. So how is 5G impacting IoT, sir?
yeah, one of the reasons I kind of love my current job is because I am able to relate to my engineering background. So after a long time, I should say. So having had a base academic experience in electronics and communication, now being in a company like Ericsson helps you to probably rewind back your memories on what things were in mobile communication. So especially in the earlier days when we had these dial-up connections, it has moved on to become high-speed broadbands now. So similarly, when you think about 5G, one clear impact that it will bring is the number of devices that you could connect. In short, it's the speed and capacity. So these are the two main areas where 5G is going to make a dent. When I say about capacity or bandwidth, with 5G, we can connect up to 1 million devices per square kilometer. And there is a lot of room for automation with this, and the dimensions that we could classify IoT. There are different ways in which you can classify IoT as a practice. So one of the dimensions is by use case. So there are various IoT, I should say, mechanisms. One of that is industrial, which means that you deal with devices that are largely industrial, used for manufacturing purposes. And then you have consumer IoT, includes maybe your smartwatch, wearables, and all that. And then enterprise IoT, where you have enterprises using their devices for their day-to-day business. So
Okay, sir, thank you for the answer. Now let's talk about your work life. How do you prioritize your activities?
as I said, the prioritizing is uh, the first job of a product owner or even a product manager. So yeah, and trust me, it's not easy. And here I'd like to recall one of my favorite movie quotes. Yeah, and I'd let any of you guess from which movie it is. Maybe I'll leave a few seconds of pause. So it goes like this. सही और गलत के बीच फैसला करना बहुत आसान है, लेकिन दो सही रास्तों में से बेहतर चुनना और दो गलत रास्तों में से मुनासिब, यही हमारा जिंदगी की फैसला करती है.
Sounds like a Shah Rukh Khan movie.
It's funner.
Okay.
So it's a like I wasn't even an IIM grad when I listened to this dialogue, but it caught me very hard, and it has deep philosophies which you will probably be able to make more sense of as you go through your life. And yeah, so it's never and yeah, of course, to translate it, it just goes like it's easier to choose between good and bad. What is tough is to choose between two good routes and choose the better among the two good routes and the worst among the two bad ones, and that's going to make your life's decisions. So yeah, that's the way how your day will mostly roll when you try to prioritize things, because you'll need all the customers at the end of the day. So prioritizing is never an easy job. So yeah, coming back to the crux of the question, my thumb rule of prioritizing any activity is just by looking at the impact of doing that activity versus not doing it. So what it will mean if I don't do this particular feature or implement this particular feature by this timeline for that customer? Does he have an alternative or doesn't he? What is the amount of work that he is blocked with if I don't implement this? And what will be the benefit in his business if I implement this? So look at the odds and look at the capacity. So of course there is no single answer, and there is never a silver bullet to such a situation. So you have a lot of unknowns in this case, and you play with such a it's a dynamic field. So you sometimes your gut feel. I don't think we should call it gut feel. It's a feel that you get built inside you by experience. We just don't know the right name for it, so we call it gut feel. So that experience will guide you in a way, but you also weigh how things will matter if you do it and if you don't.
So moving to the next question, what challenges did you encounter while implementing IoTs?
When we think of IoT, it's what comes to our mind is the large-scale implementation, like installing thousands of smart devices together for a customer. So as easy as it sounds to imagine, but there are a lot of challenges that you will face when you are either the customer who is installing this or the provider like us who is enabling the customer to do it. One thing is, doing it at the large scale itself is a challenge because the performance needs to be intact. When you talk about the software requirements, there are two types of requirements: functional and non-functional. And what's generally overlooked is the non-functional part of requirement, which deals with the performance aspects of the software system, and not just performance, but also the other aspects like security, usability, and of course there are a lot more, but these are the key things that come to my mind. So these non-functional requirements, they play a key role, and when you go onto the ground and try to implement these things, mostly you may get performance issues. And of course the other part of the problem is the migration from the current way of working for the customer to the IoT way of working.
early challenges do bring some sort of stress with them. So how do you deal with stress?
That's another interesting question. I am still trying to learn how to deal with stress, but it's a very pertinent topic, especially when you are starting to engage deeply in your professional as well as personal life. I'll say that stress is going to hit you no matter what, like at whichever point of life you are in, it is going to hit you, and there is no point in being reactive to it. Uh, I, I I feel that we need to build an ecosystem that can support us as a person, even before we reach a stage where we encounter stress. So that helps us mitigate things to an extent. So if you ask me, from at least my experience, what I'll suggest is build a set of friends or well-wishers whom you can trust, and be in regular contact with them. So to me, at least, I have a few contacts within family, school, college, uh, at IIM, work, and all the places. So of course, you need not discuss the confidential things, maybe at your family, at your work, but feel free that you have a environment to fall back to. You can discuss things with them and get reliable answers. So these people need to be the ones who will always wish the best for you and your family. So have such a bunch of people that will immensely help you throughout the life.
Yes, sir. Moving on to the next question. What advice would you give to the current batch students who are aspiring to pursue a career in product management?
As we spoke during the start of the discussion, you said, I think, about, if I'm not wrong, 30 percentage of the batch is experienced and 70 percentage are freshers. So there are two types of audience here, and for me at least, I was like about 4 years experience when I stepped into IM. So I had a natural inclination to stick back to my previous background, which was IT. Um, so there could be people. So now you have like about 2 by 2 matrix here, say like people who want to get into product management, people who don't want to, and people who are freshers, and people who are experienced. So you can make that combination. But in either case, I think if you are interested, and then if you are a experienced person, if you have experience in, say, IT, that is the valid experience that I'm talking of. Talk to your earlier colleagues, product managers in those companies, uh, and then understand what kind of work nature it is. And if you are a fresher, if you are really keen about manager or product owner role, and you want to pursue a career in that, nowadays I think it's a lot easier. You have, of course, at least we had a dearth of alumni. In case of people like you don't face that challenge, and reach out to your seniors, your friends, family, and understand what kind of job interests you. So this is in general, not even about product management. So before you get excited about a role, um, talk to the people in your network and understand what that role could mean to you, and if you will be able to make justice to that role. Uh, because there are cases in which people get into a role, and then at a later stage come to understand that, hey, this is not giving me enough uh, motivation to uh, go to the work and deliver my best on a day-to-day basis. So such cases could be avoided if you take the help of your network, and also your internship. Please make the best use of it. Um, Take up, so for example, if you want to pursue a career in say some X domain, say sales, and you are experienced in IT earlier, you want to you just have this calling for getting into sales, but you don't know how you will cope up with it. So try to take a sales internship. Of course, don't mess up in your internship, but try to take the sales internship and give your best, and see if that is something that you want to do in long run in your main career. If it excites you, go for it. If not, probably choose the next best ship.
Talking about a career in product management, what is one of the most interesting thing and the least interesting thing about product management, according to you?
But apparently, I kind of emphasized more about that in my earlier part as well. So the most interesting part is to getting to know different perspectives of people. You talk to probably a development person, and you understand why or what are the limitations in pushing one feature in the next 2 days. Um, but you talk to your product management or the customer facing people and understand that why it is important in terms of revenue and business to make such a turnaround in a few days. So you need to negotiate a lot, and you need to understand different perspective, listen communicate. This is going to happen back and forth in product management. I think that's the most interesting part, though it's challenging. Coming to the least interesting part, as I said, sometimes it could be a overkill also. Like you might have too many meetings. Focusing could be a challenge.
Talking about your career, can you say what is the best thing that you have learned in Qatar, being a Qatar, and how it is helping you in your career right now?
I come from Tamil Nadu, so here we learn from childhood that Yadumure Yavarum Kelir, which means all towns are ours and everyone is our king. Uh, you might have heard this in our earlier President APJ Abdul Kalam's speech as well. So what this means as a uh, relevance here is that being at Rohtak gave me an opportunity or window to meet people from various backgrounds in terms of geographical background, their demography, ages, academic or professional background. So we were almost like 110, 115 members in our batch, and put together with the junior and seniors that we met, it's almost like 350 members almost. So that's a wide variety of network that you could build, and you see people from different background. You work with them on different basis, projects, assignments. You work with people who had no idea of what IT is, and you get to tell them how this MIS assignment needs to go through. You work with somebody who is already a specialist in marketing, and where you are in novice, and you get to know new traits from them. So a lot of co-learning happens, and I feel that the networking skills and the ability to learn from people whom you meet, respect them, and also at the same time able to make a connect with them is something that I have taken back from my Qatar life primarily.
Going back to talking about IoT, there's one thing that I would like to ask you. What are your views on privacy and security of IoT?
Privacy and security. So, talking about security, it is about providing a hack-proof solution. That's what we call security, and privacy is about ensuring uh, the user experience where you have full control of your data. So that is what we generally call as privacy. So these two are the basic building blocks of any IT technology, and more so in case of IoT. Because what we are doing is we are empowering things that are not having brains of their own, that are things. That T in the IoT stands for things. So you are empowering things to capture data, transmit data and even influence data and even generate some process in case of industrial IoT or in any other IoT cases. So this is really important, and I can't emphasize enough the importance of security and privacy in the realm of IoT. So currently we have about 12 billion connected devices across the world, and it's going to about double in the next 3 odd years. But those are theory, and without implementing correct security standards and privacy regulations, it will not be practically possible.
Yes, sir. From the various certifications you have earned, which courses you think have been the most beneficial to you?
Most useful one, which I feel at the current situation, is the Safe Agile POPM certification, which I took this year. So this Safe POPM is mostly applicable in my current role directly, and helps us to build the ways of working in my current organization and lays path, because product management is mostly a recently defined area. It's only in, if you read about the history, it's in the late 1930s that this kind of domain even started to originate, and came into our part of the world very lately. So you have very less material to guide you on product management. Now you have more, but earlier it used to be very sparse. So this I felt is a really good certification that gave me a knowledge about how things will work in the IT industry.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now we'll move on to a rapid fire. So the simple rule is I'll give you a word. Whatever comes to your mind, you can just say it instantly. Like you shouldn't think, just say it. Okay.
Okay.
So shall we begin?
Yep.
So the first word is Khator.
Rohtak.
Your favorite hangout place in Rohtak?
Deepak.
Okay, then library.
I think Kamlesh sir, we used to have him earlier.
Okay, then roommate.
Haldar, he was my roommate.
Okay, presentations.
Night mass.
Okay, free riders.
Ubiquitous.
Okay, infusion.
Fantasy.
Okay, then Maggie.
Refreshment.
Okay, then deadlines.
Everyday things.
Lastly, classrooms.
Yeah, now I'm more able to relate to my son's Google Classroom. Yeah, classrooms were, in fact, we had really good classrooms there in MBU, and what I was able to relate to is, yeah, our marketing classes.
So we have come to the end of the session, sir. So for taking time from your busy schedule and being with us today. It was a great pleasure learning and listening from your experience. We are grateful for having you as the guest for the day. Thank you so much, sir. For more such engaging episodes of Khator Vani, stay tuned. We will be back soon.
Thank you.